What's up guys, Mike with Smooth Babes here, bringing you another video. Today's video is going to be all about building an RDA. We're going to do a basic build in an RDA today. Today we're actually going to be using the Doge RDA. This is the V2. Very nice RDA, very easy for a beginner, and has really nice airflows to get a decent cloud out of it. Now, we're going to start. I already broke this thing down, unassembled it, took everything out. So, we're going to take our Coil Master 521. I didn't show this in any of the other videos. This thing is simply amazing for building. It'll give you your multimeter, and then you can also put it on a fire setting where it will pre-fire. It does take one 18650 battery, but this is the next step up for coil building. This thing is just simply amazing. So I'm going to take this and actually use this as our building deck today. Throw our RDA down onto it, pull the cap off, and you can see it was juiced up and everything. I was using it, but I pulled it apart for the purpose of this build for you. So we went over in the last video Coil Master kit. We're going to be using just about everything out of this kit minus the multimeter beans that we have on. So we're going to open the kit up. Now these are flathead, which you take your flathead screwdriver, you'd open up all these so you can get your wire in here. I already have them opened up, means that I pulled the wire out of here. But yeah, that would be the first step, would be open this up. I always recommend these guys just take and run these things through water or something, just to get the machine oil off if there was any residual residue on it. A lot of times there isn't, but you know, it's always a safety thing. You don't want that residue going into your lungs, and it doesn't taste very well neither. So we'll start with, I got my 24 gauge wire. Now again guys, we're doing just a basic build today. We're going to be using 24 gauge Kanthal wire. This one particular one here is a 250 foot roll from Pure Atomist. They're a good company, reasonably cheap for the wire, so that's definitely one to start off with. So let's get on to building our coils. So we're going to take, I'd say a good maybe, just to say as a starter, take about a foot off of your spool, and take your snips and snipper off, and then just tuck your wire down in there again so it can't fling open. There's the slot for it. We'll just tuck our wire back in there so it can't kind of fling open here. And throw that to the side. We don't need that. Alright. Now, take your wire that you just cut and cut it about in half. Alright. That's that. We got 2 halves of wire here. So, on to the coil jig. Now, we did a brief touching review on the last video we did about this Coil Master coil jig. I will show you how this thing works today. We're going to do, for a standard build, a 3mm diameter. You can see on the top of these, if my camera will focus, you can see they're labeled. So we'll do a 3mm diameter. So you're going to want to unscrew the top of this coil jig, and you'll see there's a little pocket there that this will sit in. Just sit this down there in that pocket, take the cap, throw the cap back down on her, and tighten her back down. Okay, now there's 2 holes on either side on this coil jig, and 2 holes that are coming out the top. So what you're going to want to do is take a piece of that wire that we just snipped off, and I always go for the hole on this side. It's just my preference. You can wrap it the other way, but I like it going this way. So we'll run that wire up through here, and then pinch down on the end right here. And leave a little bit extra here. So it's going to look basically like that. Now, let that sit there for a second. We're going to find the matching 3mm cap, and there's a little screw or a little Allen key on the side of it. You have a little blue Allen wrench that comes in your red holder for your different sizes here. Just take and loosen that up a little bit. Not the whole way out, just loosen it up a little bit Now what this is going to do is this is what actually grabs your wire as you're twisting it. So put this back up where we were. Keep your wire going off to the side like it is right here. And put your cap down, push down a little bit, and give her a twist. Now you want to do 1, 2, and slowly pull out a little bit as you guys are doing this. 3, 4, 5, 6, and half there. So you're going to end and start at the same point. I did 6 wraps on this one. In total, it'll make it 7 wraps. So now this is one coil you got built here. You're going to do another coil exactly the same way. 7 wraps, well, 6 full wraps equaling 7. So to get this off, I found it easier just to pull this, slide your stem out, and then just pull the coil off the coil master. And then just take and kind of touch the coil up here a little bit, squeeze it together a little. And there you got one perfectly rolled coil. And yep, right there. So we'll do another one yet, and then we'll get into putting it on the RDA. Again, same thing. Slide it up through the farthest one on the left. Clamp her down at the end. Throw your coil jig on, push down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And back to where you started. So there is 2 perfectly wrapped coils. They're not going to need too terribly much attention once you get this thing on here. They're wrapped fairly tight, and you can put the actual coil master away. I leave the stem out, the actual internal jig here, because I'll use it on a later thing. I'll show you what I use it for then. But everything else can go back in the pouch, and you're done with that. So now to get into these coils. People have different ways of doing this. You can trim the ends down a little bit. Really, there's not too much extra wire there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take them and we're going to slide them in here. The lowest point on the coil, which is this side, will go on the outside there. So it's basically going to look something like that. And then you just slide her in. Get her into about right there. You can see the gap there. A little bit of gap between the coil and the deck. And take your screwdriver, tighten her down. Hold onto the wire a little bit so it doesn't slide out. And just snug her up. You don't want to go too tight with this, guys, or you're going to end up snapping the wire. Believe me, when I first started building, I did that quite a bit. So, then just take it and snip your ends off. Flush, so you don't see any real wire sticking out of that side there. And then we'll take and straighten our coil out. So this is what I use the stem for from the coil master. So we'll just take it, push it down, push her over towards center a little bit, and line her up. There's one coil in and lined up, ready to go. We'll do the same thing with the other one. Stick her in, put her through, tighten her down. Again, not too tight. Snip the ends off. And then line her up. There we go. 2 coils in, lined up. Let's see if I can get this camera to focus a little bit. Like so. Alright, now what you're going to want to do is, if you have one of these, it's going to make it easier. Well, we'll check the ohms first. Right now it's ohming out at 0.26. So, we'll flip her over to fire. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can use your regulated mod or unregulated mod. I'd prefer you use a regulated mod to do this. You're going to want to fire your coils. You can see in the video here, we're pre-firing our coils. Get her nice and hot there. Okay. And then what we're going to want to do is squeeze them together a little bit. Never squeeze them together while you're firing, and use your ceramic tweezers. That's what we're using here. But never squeeze them together as you're firing. Your basic goal is to get the hot spots out of her. Okay. Lift this coil up a little bit here, just to make her even. Right about there, and let's see if she burns even now. Not quite. Go down a little bit here. Goal is to get your coils burning evenly. No, not quite even enough yet. There we go. Nice and even. Just make sure we get a little bit of the hot spots out yet. Look at that. Nice and even there. Perfect for burning for the coils. Check the ohms again. We are at 0.32. Pretty good there. Alright. Now that we got this all set up, got your coils set up, now we're going to go put some of our stuff away here. Put the ceramics away. We don't need them anymore. Snippers, we don't need them. And we don't need the coil jig anymore neither. So we'll get everything put away here. And we'll get out our wicks. I'm using native wicks. This is a spool of wick. Spool of cotton. We do sell these here at Smooth Vapes. They are pretty nice to work with. We went in the other videos about the Fiber Freak wicks. Those are where it's at. Those are what you really want to use. But these things here work great too. They're not too complicated to use. So we'll get some out here. And we'll take our scissors out of the Coil Master kit. Pull her apart, flip her open, and cut off some wick. About like that should do fine. And then we'll basically take it, peel a little bit of strip off like that, and twist the end together here. Probably like so. And then simply feed her through your coil. Check your resistance on your wick. You should have a little bit of resistance in between here. And that's fairly decent there. And we'll take her and trim her off about like that on either side. And we'll get her straightened out here. And that's what she'll look like. And we'll do the same thing for the other one. Pull a little bit apart. Feed her through. Check your resistance. Pretty good. And snip her about even again. These scissors, by the way, that come in these Coil Master kits are simply amazing. They cut just about anything. Alright, so now we got our cotton. Both of them are in. We're going to take our fine tip and we're going to pretty much just kind of fold it over and push her down in. Same thing with the other side. Fold her over. And you can use your fingers here. And push her down in. Same thing for the other side. Oh, we got fire trucks going on outside here. Fold her down in there. And there we go. Nice and tucked down in there. So we got rid of this stuff here. And then what I always like doing is, I like putting, well, we're going to soak up some juice in here. Again, from Smooth Vapes, this is one of my favorites. It's the Caribbean Breeze. So we're going to use a little bit of this. It is a Max VG 80-20 blend, guys. So, pre-wick up our cotton here. Let her soak up in there really nice. Look at that. That's pretty. Alright, and then I always like taking it and firing it a few times. Look at that, really nice. Alright, we'll soak her up a little bit more here. Take her off, throw her in a mod, and see how she hits. Get the air holes lined up there. I'm going to be firing this, guys, on, let's see, I'll throw it on my X1. This is a hybrid top cap, so it does have a protruding 510 pin on the bottom. It is safe for hybrids. So let me grab a battery here really quick. Okay. Throw a battery down in here. Toss her on. And we'll fire her. Look at that. She's looking pretty nice. A little bit more juice on here. And let's see how she hits. Yeah, she hits pretty nice. So, that is simple basic RDA building 101. This will apply to pretty much any RDA, any 4-post RDA. I will get into it on my next video about velocity builds and also 3-post builds. So, again, it's Mike with Smooth Vapes. Reason we're doing these videos is due to the FDA deeming that we are no longer allowed to show a customer in person how to set up or build their device. If you want to change that, I encourage you guys to go to www.casaa.com, fill out the form they have on there. It'll send an email to your local government telling them that basically vaping has changed your life and you would appreciate to be continued in the future. So again, it's Mike with Smooth Vapes. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you on